Hail, good citizen. Seems you've bloodied your knuckles a few times. Hey, welcome back to another Elder Scrolls video. With all the fun and exciting unique blades and bludgeoners, it is often very easy to overlook the playstyle you use at the very start of every Elder Scrolls game. Just your fists. I'm 100% guilty of this myself, which is why on the current playthrough I'm doing of Oblivion, I am playing as the ultimate Argonian, just running through Oblivion gates with nothing but his fists in a dream. But if you are trying to expand your knowledge of hand-to-hand combat beyond that of an insane lizard with a death wish, one would only have to read The Way of the Exposed Palm. Found here, inside Fieldhouse Cave, it gives a quick and precise overview on the keys of mastering open-handed combat. Untrained pugilists are known to make a club of the hand and beat on their opponents like a drum. It is truly an uncouth way to victory. The way of the exposed palm is far more sophisticated and far more deadly. Consider this question. A man is struck in the chest by the flat of a plate. There is a small bruise, but he is otherwise unharmed. Now break the plate and strike him in the chest with a shard using the same force. Now the man is dead or grievously wounded. How can this be? How can a small object harm more than a larger? This essential point is the first finger of the way of the exposed palm. The 5-part way is concentration, reaction, equilibrium, speed, breath control. To master unarmed combat, all 5 digits must be mastered. The parable of the man and the plate is concentration. All of the blow is concentrated into a small point. Therefore, it is more potent. To strike with just the thumb can be more deadly than to strike with the whole fist. However, only highly trained fighters can do this. The second aspect of concentration is the mental discipline to think hard about what is being done. Distractions are ignored, as the will maintains the ultimate goal. The truly deadly fighter can even block out his own pain in this manner. As for the main focus of this video, I want to talk about a specific school of martial arts in the Elder Scrolls world, not in Cyrodiil, but elsewhere the Temple of the Two Moons Dance. These temples are as much a religious place of study as it is a place to learn the fighting style of the Khajiit, called claw dances. They actually consider it a form of meditation. They consider it very calming to let out all their energy in a fighting dance. Because they're cats, I guess. I don't know the cat. I feel like this is a cat joke. Is this a cat joke? The Two Moons Dance itself refers to the name of their Khajiiti deity, Riddle'Thar. According to the varieties of faith in the Empire, Riddle'Thar is more of a set of guidelines by which to live than a single entity. But some of his avatars like to appear as humble messengers of the gods. If there was an Elder Scrolls game that was set in elsewhere, I can basically guarantee that the main character would be some sort of avatar of Riddle'Thar in some aspect. They also venerate the Khajiit gods of the moons and their cycles, Joan and Jode. These temples have been used in some form since the Merithic era and are scattered across the province of Elsewhere. If you've played the Elder Scrolls Online, you might remember the one on Canarthi's Roost, the starting island area for the Aldmeri Dominion. In its inception, they were the only ones strong enough to protect the unprotected in the dangerous landscape of Elsewhere in the Merithic era. Now, they teach these techniques to anyone willing to learn across the Empire. These specific techniques include Desert Wind, Gout Fang, Desert Rain, and Whispering Claw. There is one story that can be found inside the Elder Scrolls Oblivion that deals with the temple, specifically the one located in the city of Torval. Master Zoraym's Tale by Ginarth. This tells the tale of a master fighter reminiscing on a tournament where he learned the most important lesson taught at the Temple of Two Moons Dance: humility. While there isn't a permanent location that you can find this in-game, it can either be found in random loot while exploring the game, or is a possible reward for completing the quest, Bear Season. The Temple of Two Moons Dance in Torval has for many hundreds of years been the finest training ground in all Tamriel for warriors of foot and fist. The masters teach students of all ages from all parts of the Empire the most ancient techniques and the most modern variations, and many a former pupil has graduated to great fame. I myself trained there, and as a young child, I remember asking my first master, Zoaraym, which former student he felt had best learned the lessons of the temple. I was not a teacher when I met this man, but a student myself. he said, smiling in reminiscence, his great wrinkled face becoming even more like the withered fruit of the bathroom tree. This was long ago, before your parents were born. For many years, I had trained at the temple, rising to study in the more difficult and demanding classes, taught by the wisest and most learned masters of the Two Moons dance. Gineth, you will come to understand that the tempering of your body must attend the tempering of your mind. And there is a prescribed order of training we at the temple have designed over the years in coordinates with the way of Riddle'Thar. I have reached the highest level, where my power and skill were such that even by supernatural, magical means, few could ever best me in weaponless combat. There was a servant at the temple at the time, a Dunmer, a few years older than myself and those in my class. We had never noticed him but in passing over the years, for he would enter the training chambers quietly, clean for a few minutes' time, and leave without saying a word. Not that we would have listened if he spoke, so enraptured we were in our exercises and lessons. When our last master told some of us, including myself, that the time had come for us to leave the temple or become teachers, there was a great festival of celebration. The Main itself deigned to visit and observe our ceremony. As we were and are a temple of philosophy and combat, there were contests of debate and competitions in the temple's war arena, not only among the elite few, but open to all students. On the first day of the festival, I was examining the gladiatorial roster to see who I would fight with first, when I heard a conversation behind me. The servants, speaking to the archpriest of the temple. It was the first time I heard the Dunmer's voice, and the first time I heard his name. I understand you wish to rejoin your people's struggle in Morrowind, Terran, the Archpriest was saying. I am sorry to hear it. You have been an institution here for many, many years, and you will be missed. If there is anything I can do for you, please name it. Thank you for your kindness, the Dunmer replied. I do have a request, but I fear you would be loath to grant it. Ever since I first came to the temple, I have been watching the students learn and practice myself when my duties allowed for it. I know I am but a servant here, but I would be honored if you would allow me to compete in the war arena. I stifled back my gasp at the Mer's impertinence to even suggest that he would be worthy to fight with those of us who have trained so hard. To my surprise, the Archpriest agreed, adding the name Terran Omathan to the roster at the beginner's level. I was eager to whisper the news to my fellow elite students, but my first bout was scheduled to begin in a few minutes' time. I fought 18 competitions in a row, besting all. The crowd gathered in the arena knew of my prowess, and gave polite, unsurprised applause at the end of each fight. As much as I focused on my own battles, I could not help noticing that other competitions were receiving more and more attention in the arena. The spectators whispered amongst themselves, and more began drifting away to see something that was evidently more spectacular and unusual than my unbroken string of victories. One of the most important lessons we teach from the Two Moons dance is the lesson of rejecting one's vanity. I understood then the importance of achieving personal synchronicity with one's body and mind, of rebuffing outside influences of no importance. But I admit, I had not accepted the lesson in my heart. I knew I was good, but my pride was hurt. It came down to a contest of champions, and I was one of the two. When I saw who the other fighter would be, my mood turned from one of wounded dignity to complete disbelief. My adversary was the servant Terran. This must be a joke, or some final philosophical test, I reasoned. Then I looked into the crowd, and saw anticipation of a great battle to come in every eye. We gave one another the sign of respect, I stiffly, and he with great elegance and modesty. The fight began. Initially, I sought to end it quickly, still thinking he was unworthy to be cleaning the arena, let alone fighting in it. In retrospect, I was being illogical, as I must have known he had bested as many students as I too had reached that final level. He offered simple counterblows to my attacks and responded in kind. His style was expansive, encompassing sophisticated arcane footplay one moment, and simple jabs and kicks the next. I tried his elements, intended to dazzle, but his face never showed either fear or contempt of my abilities. The fight lasted for a long time. I don't recall when I realized I was destined to lose, but when it ended, I was not surprised with the outcome. With a sense of unusual and true modesty, I bowed to him, but I could not resist asking him as we left the arena, to the sound of thunderous applause, how he so secretly grew to become a master. I never had a choice to rise in the temple, Taran replied. Every day, I cleaned the training chambers of the elite classes, and then the beginners. So you see, I never had the misfortune to forget those early mistakes, lessons, and techniques while observing and learning the ways of the masters. He left Torval early the next morning to return to his homeland, and I never saw him again, though I've heard people saw that he's become a priest and a teacher. I became a teacher as well, for children just beginning their training in the 2 moons, as well as the elite. And I make certain to bring my best pupils to see how the unlearned fight, so that they might never forget. Hey, thanks for watching the thing you just watched. I've had this idea in my head ever since I started the playthrough as an Argonian that I play sometimes on YouTube for a live stream, so if I end up doing that on my free time, go check that out. And it was pretty cool to just look into a fighting style that, because these games are designed the way they are to really push you towards the weapons, the bows, the maces, the swords, to really focus in on just the 2 fists you get at the start of every game that everyone just completely forgets about. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff if you have enjoyed yourself today. And of course, remember, throw a good punch.